the Florida Sheriff's Association Cold Case Advisory Commission. This commission meets 2 times a year, and it's a 2-day event. One day we focus on training for investigators and training on new technology, new techniques, and what's happening out there in the world of cold case investigations. And then on the second day, we bring in experts from around the state, and we do case reviews. So agencies who've got cold cases that they'd like some fresh eyes to take a look at, they are afforded the opportunity to present their cold cases. And today we are reviewing the case of a case from Indian River County Sheriff's Office, as Sheriff Flowers mentioned, and then also a Palm Beach County case will be reviewed this afternoon. I know the media is looking at us, but if you look behind you, the people behind you, the men and women behind you, represent the best of the best in the state of Florida. And the Florida Sheriff's Association saw this talent about 15 years ago and pulled together this commission. So these are the best investigators, the best advocates, the best in the business when it comes to hearing and sorting through the evidence of any cold case. And so the agencies present their cold case, and this team of experts behind us offer up suggestions and ideas of how the detective can move forward with solving the homicide. And that's really what we're all about here. We were fortunate enough earlier today to hear from John Walsh, and he talked about, there's never really closure, but there's justice. And that is the goal of this cold case commission, is to solve cases and bring justice to families so that they can close that chapter in their book and move forward. So that is what we do. I would like to again thank the Florida Sheriff's Association for allowing us to come together. I'd like to thank the men and women who are sitting in this room, who on their own time come up here and offer their expertise. And again, to Sheriff Flowers and the Indian River County Sheriff's Office for hosting us. With that being said, is there any questions? Yes, sir.
Obvious question here. How important is it to have this cooperation with agencies from across the state?
In my almost 35 years of law enforcement experience, you solve cases through the networking and relationships that you have with people, and whether that's with fellow detectives or advocates or technology companies, about the technology, and the men and women in this room and the men and women across the state of Florida who investigate these cold cases, they're driven. They are a special breed, and they're driven to bring closure or at least justice to the families of the victims.
I had a question. Can you
Yes.
talk about some of the technology that you all use and the techniques to solve these cold cases?
Yeah, so in the last couple of decades, DNA has really taken off, and so we went from the evolution of investigations, witness testimony, and then fingerprints, and then DNA, and what's really on the forefront right now is the genealogy DNA. So we may have a DNA evidence from a case, but there's no match to it because the suspect has never had their DNA taken for any reason, so there's no match to that DNA. Now with DNA genealogy, investigators can go into these companies that assist law enforcement and plug in the DNA, and now we have a map of maybe 100 people who are somewhat related to a suspect. That's a whole investigative technique that even 5 years ago really didn't exist at the level that our homicide detectives now can use, and this is emerging technology and techniques for us. That's probably the most exciting. And I really one of the things we talked about yesterday and a little bit today was the use of AI. I think that's going to be the next technology, is being able to plug all of this information in and then capitalizing on AI to lead us to a suspect. And at the end of the day, it has to be detectives, it has to be humans, right, that make the final connection. But the genealogy DNA and the AI is going to be a game changer.
Can you go a little further into that AI aspect? Because a lot of people are skeptical of AI, and especially with some of the highest authorities in law enforcement using it. Talk to me about kind of how you're going to prevent any of the mistakes that we know AI can
Sure. I mean, AI is new, right? And it's new for law enforcement. And as I said a minute ago, it's going to have to be that human that looks at it and makes the final connection. But AI has proven to take monumental amounts of information and sort through it much quickly than the human eye can. So it is not the end-all be-all, but it is a technique and a tactic like anything else, like a fingerprint. I mean, you think about all the people historically, either through witness testimony or a fingerprint because the pizza guy was there the other day and the pizza guy gets picked up for murder, or a witness gives bad testimony. There's always going to be that small percentage of cases where the technology leads you to the wrong person, and that's why it's so important to have solid investigators take the facts and let the facts lead them, where they lead them to, and not rely solely on the technology.
Can I jump in on that one?
Yeah,
real quick?
absolutely.
I just want to mention, we take a lot of heat over our license plate reader system and over our real-time crime center. And one of the things that gets mentioned is, invasion of privacy. The reality is, there are so many times where we're able to use that technology to exonerate somebody that in the past they may have been charged. And so when we're able to say, well, we know this person's vehicle was in this location at this time, clearly, if they were there, they couldn't have been at the scene. And so there are so many times now where this technology that we have is helping us not put the wrong person in jail or in prison. And folks don't ever recognize that. It's always brought about, all the other side of it. But in reality, what we're doing out here is making sure, and Sheriff Cook's absolutely right, there's a human element to this. We're never going to let the computers actually make the decisions on the end of it. We're not going to have the computers doing charging documents. It's going to be a human that makes those decisions. And ultimately, in as many bad things that come out, there's a lot of good things that come out of it too. And so we're really happy that we're able to do that and make a difference in law enforcement.
Sheriff Flowers, two-part question for you. This is the first time you guys are hosting this. I know it's held in other parts of the state traditionally. Talk about how that's important for you guys, how you can bring multiple sheriff's agencies here. And then you said you would be discussing a cold case from this area today. Can you talk a little bit about that cold case and how other agencies can really help out in the
Sure.
discovery?
Yeah, we're honored to be able to host this here. I think Sheriff says in our notes here, there's 25 different agencies that have come from around the state. We're able to show off what we're doing here at the Sheriff's Office, welcome these folks to our area, and bring a little bit of attention to Indian River. We're kind of a sleepy town. We don't get as much attention as other parts of the state, and so it's nice to have folks here to see what we're doing and see how we're doing things. And so we feel like we're doing it really well, and it's nice to be able to show that off sometimes. As far as the next part of your question, the case is Stephanie Jackson. It's a homicide that occurred in the 90s. Later this week, it's actually going to be airing on television. We did a television show called Cold Justice on this case. And if you're interested in this particular case, it'll be airing, what is it, the Lifetime channel that it shows on? I believe so. Yeah, Oxygen Network. It shows on Oxygen. And so people can watch that and see that show. It's about an hour long. Just a great episode. Hopefully, it breaks this case. We feel like we're so close, and this is an opportunity between the Cold Case Commission, between this television show, that maybe we can make a difference and finally find some justice in that case.
Sheriff, this commission obviously deals with cases that are decades old, and people might be watching this and think, why dedicate resources from around the state and even some federal resources as well to try in solving these cases? Can you talk about the importance of not forgetting about the cases of the past that went unsolved?
No doubt. One of the things that I'm most proud of is, I mentioned our real-time crime center. I recognize our technology. I talked about that. We're cutting off a lot of the bad guys before they get an opportunity to commit these crimes. And so now my goal is to not make any more cold cases. My goal is for us to not be in this situation right now. We're trying to get caught things that exist back there, because I don't want to make more cold cases. When we have a case, when we have a shooting, when we have a homicide, I want an arrest that's attached to that. I want to find justice quickly, because families shouldn't have to wait as long as some of these families have. And I feel like because of the technology, not just what we're using now, but the DNA, the things that are catching up, we're going to be able to close a lot of these cases. We've already closed a ton of them since I became sheriff. We started our own cold case group here. We've got volunteers that come from all around the county to help us. And so I believe that this is the right thing to do, and just really good for those families to know that their loved ones haven't been forgotten.
Any other questions? No, listen, we appreciate you all coming in today and and sharing the story of the Cold Case Commission. And the biggest point that I would like to get out to the families that are out there that who have loved ones who've been murdered and the case goes unsolved, just know that we are here, the sheriffs of the state of Florida, you know, all the members that are in this room, plus the investigators at each agency. We're not giving up. We are absolutely not giving up, and I know that Sheriff Flowers is committed here in Indian River County to solving not only that case but the other cases. And I just want the families to know, hang on, we're gonna solve these cases for them. Thank you.